Welcome back, crypto enthusiasts, empaths, and conscious investors. My name is Jona Bryndis, and I'm going to guide you through the crypto energies here for this next week, September 22nd till 28th. As most of you know, I do collective energy updates for empaths and energetically sensitives, and I take the data from there and transpose this over into the crypto/financial markets. So this is a different perspective. It makes you rethink some of these common paradigms maybe a little bit. And one of the things that we offer here as free service is that we do crypto integrity rating, and we've expanded this a lot here in these last months. We started doing this last year, and we are now starting to compare, crypto companies not only within their own class, but also with certain stocks to get a better feel for, what does the integrity actually say about the success of a company, or, will it prevail, or is this investment a good investment? So in the course of doing these crypto integrity tests for you based on your suggestions, we're getting more and more bombarded here. So I've decided to change the format just a little bit. I give you this weekly update based on the collective energy forecast on Thursdays, as we've always done this in the last year. And then on the weekends, we're going to go deeper into the integrity rating, especially comparative studies. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what this means here in a little minute. Let us look at the crypto markets right now. It's still going sideways with tiny little ups and downs. Market cap is right around 200 billion. Bitcoin is right at 6,400. And, these things are, irrelevant here at this very moment, because we are at the dawn of something really new. And where do I know this from, or how do I judge this? And this is what you can read out of mainstream media. You can read this out of collective news. Okay, so there's a lot of shifts and changes going on. We talk about this here every week, things such as the currency decline or the hyperinflation in emerging markets, issues with banks international, the European community in trouble. Okay, so there's a lot of things that show us, that this current business paradigm is about to change. And while this can make us fearful, of course, of perhaps our currency, perhaps the US dollar collapsing, and how is this going to affect my personal finances and so forth. It's really important to stay here centered, and to stay calm, and to just watch it. You guys are watching this right now because you're open for new ways of thinking. And I'm trying to honor this, by bringing in a different perspective, the energetic perspective. And the way this is measured is pretty simple and yet complicated. It's not woo-woo. It's based on the energy sessions that we have going on at transCODES every day, or almost every other day. We have public energy sessions with a whole team of energy readers. And we read out collective energies, and then we help people to contextualize this for their personal journey. But it gives us a little bit of a preview. Even if a person is not consciously available of this information, we are all carriers of this collective info, in this holographic universe that we live in. So for energy readers, things are more visible than they are for, like, say, people who only read the news. So it gives a different perspective. Okay, so I don't know if I already introduced myself, but my name is Jona Bryndis. I'm the founder and owner of transCODES and Crypto Spiritual, and I'm producing a picture here for you that may change some of the views. But it's also for you as education, you know, like what does these crypto currencies, what does it even mean? Just a second here. Okay, slight interruption. We've already done workshops that can be looked at in our Facebook group, Crypto Spiritual, what blockchain is, the terminology, and so forth. So if you need this basic education, then just go to Facebook and search for Crypto Spiritual Group and become a member there. You'll have access to a lot of extra info there. So coming to the recent news or the most recent developments here, you know, we're looking at a time that is quite interesting for us. So most of us crypto enthusiasts came in with this like, yes, and it's going to be freedom from the Federal Reserve and, you know, free transactions for everybody and, you know, all this sort of pirate sort of energy, you know, like trying to liberate ourselves from the old paradigm. And this is always sort of the thing that attracts innovators. Okay, innovators like myself, they'll always be attracted by things that show sort of a new, improved or enhanced version of the old. Okay, but the way we've contextualized this in a sense that this is going to beat the deep state or the powers to be and so forth, this may have to be revised because, as we all know, for this sort of paradigm shift to happen, some of these old paradigm laws don't just have to be broken through, they also have to be renewed along with this. And so it's a time of discernment really that is coming now, that sort of the honeymoon phase with or the naivete with cryptocurrencies is has a little calmed down. Okay, so through this enormous volatility here since the beginning of the year, it's not you know, sort of what we hoped it would be, namely you know, this sort of fringe dwellers way of getting rich. There still is a potential here, and this is in really utilizing this energy reading capabilities that we have as empaths, and seeing that as a new system is emerging, okay, there's always opportunities. Yes, there will be a lot of things that we will have to let go of, but we still have the chance here, you know, to set up some really significant seeds for the future, okay, for abundance in the future. And that is if we are willing to let go of our sort of naive, rebellious tendencies and thoughts and hopes, and if we're willing to accept, you know, that the world is controlled. Okay, there is no such thing as no control. However, those of us who know how to out-vibrate those control structures, we can see opportunities when others can't. And so I'm still counting myself as a crypto enthusiast, and you know, reporting about these energies going up and down, you know, throughout this year, it wasn't really an easy job. But what helped me to see the bigger picture is to really understand that the overall consciousness level of humanity is not high enough to hold, you know, these ideas that we have, you know, about a society where everything is based on shared resources and free resources, perhaps even, and you know, sort of Star Trek kind of vision. We're not there yet, guys. All right, this will take probably a few more decades to get there, and so this has to happen, you know, in a step-by-step manner. And blockchain and cryptocurrencies will play a role in this. And if you are smart and if you use your inner prompting, okay, then you can indeed, you know, set up very, very powerful things for the future right now. But don't be in an illusion. Just because it's blockchain, just because it's cryptocurrency, doesn't make it integrous. Okay, it makes it slightly more integrous, and we've tested this out, than the current economic system, but not truth-based yet. Okay, so this requires, you know, our whole entire society, you know, to increase the consciousness level to hold something like that. Yes, and we are live, and I'm starting to see you guys. So wonderful. Thank you, Southern California. Good to have you here. I love the interaction with you guys, and please comment as I am reporting. Let me know what kind of cryptocurrencies, what kind of tokens you want us to test out, to calibrate, as we do in our crypto calibration group here. And a special request to everybody, we need shitcoins. Okay, so the crypto calibration group has requested more references for really sort of low, sort of scammy type of tokens. So if you have suggestions for us or recommendations, please leave them in the comments here. There's a written report that comes with these live updates, so I edit the video and send it out. So if you would like to receive this by email, then please subscribe to the newsletter link. Okay, so what's the overall situation right now? It's very interesting what is going on, and this long speech here, this long intro that I did, you know, for us to become more accepting of, you know, how the reality of things has to do with what is going on, because it's bleeding through. Okay, so what is bleeding through for a while now is that financial institutions, you know, sort of the old control structures, at least in the financial markets, are in the cryptocurrency market and dominating it already. People talk about manipulation, but that's only because the last years it was so easy, you know, to make, you know, sort of unbelievable rates of investment interest because so few people were in there. But now that more than 50% actually comes in from whales and institutional money, this isn't the case anymore. So this needs to be accepted, guys, okay? You also need to accept that there's the need for regulation, you know, and consumer protection, all right? And this is all going on. Is it important whether there are ETFs or whether there are Ethereum futures or Litecoin futures? Not really, guys. Those things will all come anyway, okay? They will, because as soon as, you know, the jump to this new technology for the distribution and transaction of wealth, and also data storage, as well as sort of public data, you know, such as, you know, registrations and so forth. As soon as this, you know, as this transition into the blockchain is made, you're going to see trillions of dollars jump in here, and it's going to go really, really fast. So 2-3 years max, okay? And everything that we've known before will change in regards to transaction data storage, and also, of course, data sharing. These are all integrity questions, and this is why we like to spend quite a bit of time with the integrity testing. But what you're seeing right now, you know, are sort of the last outcroppings of, you know, this sort of rebellious energies. And you also see the dysfunctionality of the classic financial system starting to crumble. Okay, so yesterday, Bank of America and another bank, I forgot which one it was, got fined, you know, with I think $60 billion fine for tampering, for messing with the derivatives swap exchange prices. You know, this is huge, guys, okay? And this kind of stuff has been going on. Same with Deutsche Bank, same with other banks that are, you know, starting to be subject of this public integrity testing, so to speak, okay? So you'll see a shift here. But this doesn't mean that this is the end of these big banks. Far from it. They already have all their patents in place. They already have all their technology in place. to do this shift, to do this transition. Okay, so it's not appropriate, you know, to predict the end of the big banks. That's not going to happen. But it's going to weed out a few, and it's especially going to weed out some power structures here when it comes to currencies. And what I'm seeing here, judging or based on the collective energies and the market sentiment right now, is that we're heading towards one last round of this, FUD and this volatility, you know, sort of misleading, you know, the people like you and I, the small investors. You know, we're being basically, you know, put into our place, and we got to accept that. But it's one last round, and after that, it's pretty clear that there has to be a new sort of entity, if you will, you know, that needs to be formed, that observes the integrity of the whole marketplace, not just a marketplace for the tokens itself. You know, we tend to forget that there are phenomenal companies behind some of these tokens, and that there's so much new technology that is being promoted and enabled through these companies, you know, that we are not just looking at token prices here. We're looking at the future Apples, the future Amazons, you know, the future Microsofts. Okay, and which one of these is going to be, or are going to be, you know, these really significantly important companies in the future, 5 years, 10 years from now? This is in your sort of realm of perception. Okay, as empaths, you carry this energy in you. So if you can let go of all your opinions and of all your beliefs and all that, you know, then you're gonna see a whole new picture here of what it actually is that we need to look out for. Can we make a gain on the way? Absolutely. This depends on your personal integrity. Okay, so there will be companies, there will be tokens that will be extremely successful that we won't like. We won't like them because they, you know, they represent sort of the old paradigm, but they have that ability, you know, to really make these practical changes happening. Right now, there are not enough use cases. There's not enough application yet. Okay, this is just like, you know, the internet in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay, so it's just kind of sort of a new sort of virtual thing for most people. You know, they're not really dealing with these currencies, these cryptocurrencies yet on a day-to-day basis. This will change within the next 5 years, and they're going to be major players in this, and we won't like them. And some of them will be the same as the old. Okay, but this doesn't mean that there aren't any others that are also emerging, and this is what we are trying to do here at Crypto Spiritual. You know, we're keeping a lookout. It's like a treasure hunt, you know, trying to find these companies, these people, you know, and by rating their integrity, we can judge, you know, sort of whether they can out-vibrate the existing system, or whether it's just going to be sort of a copy of the existing, you know, in a different color. As far as the token types that we look at here, and you know, I just call them token because that's a sort of more technical way of seeing them, but they all have different functions. And I want to remind everybody, the categories that we test here in our crypto integrity rating are based on tokens in general, and we don't differentiate whether those are currencies or tokens. So tokens in general, then wallets, exchanges, dApps, mining pools, and crypto influencers, just to give us a little better, started to have a pretty good database of tokens that we've tested, and we can begin comparative studies, and I've prepared one for you. But let's look at you know, different types of tokens, and also sort of what we can expect in regards to whether these are even able to prevail this transition that is coming. In number one place, we have all the blockchains, and probably also those companies related, not offering an own chain, but a protocol. This is where the majority of the money flows in right now as far as investment is concerned. Simply because protocols are very important for different systems to communicate with another, and as of right now, every country, every company, every large company, every bank, they kind of have their own proprietary system, and so finding sort of the translating language, the protocol, how they can interact with another, and offering different types of blockchains is sort of the biggest investment area right now. So these tokens are typically pretty good investments at this point, because there will be space for 2 or 3 or even 4 or 5 of these in the market. So you don't have to be the first, you don't have to be the best. Okay, there will be different protocols, and they'll be able to exist simultaneously. Then you'll have different or specific protocols for specific use cases, and we're going to look at those today here in the crypto integrity rating. So it is only really secondary compared to these protocols and these platforms and chains, what kind of currencies, what kind of tokens are going to be used as currencies. Okay, for us users, it really doesn't matter that much. And all this talk about who's going to make the race and who's going to win as currency is completely irrelevant, guys. It doesn't matter. Okay, your bank or your payment processor will offer you a certain range of currencies, and with the swapping technology, all this may completely sort of won't matter which one you choose to accumulate. Okay, I do think though it will matter which tokens you accumulate in regards to blockchains and platforms and protocols. The same with actual sort of applications, dApps. So there are specific applications that are coming forward now, such as data storage, such as content providers, such as social media, such as streaming services, such as gaming services, and so forth. And they're come and go a little bit. I mean, there will be a few big players, just like how we've seen it in the software industry over the last 20-30 years. Okay, so some will crystallize as the big players. Some will disappear, even if they had a good integrity or a really high conscious level, or even really good technology. The choices companies make, they don't always have to do with money or with the people that they have. There's things that can happen. One wrong decision, on an executive level, can wipe out a company, guys. Every one of you who has studied economy, can see proofs of that in the past. So anyway, so these are the different types of tokens that we look at, and I've prepared a comparative study for you today, but I do want to introduce the integrity rating for the 5 tokens for you today right now. And let's get started with HOLO. HOLO has seen some really good press here lately, has also seen some good gains in the past weeks, and it's quite an interesting project. It's a framework for distributed apps. So you could say it's in between a platform and a protocol. And please, correct me if I'm not introducing this 100% right, because I got to keep it as simple as possible. But basically, they're calling themselves sort of what comes after the blockchain. It's a very motivated team, but there's some disputes going on. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing the token as an investment calibrating at 193. And just as a reminder, we're looking for 200 as the sort of threshold for truth, for integrity. 193 is the level on which the cryptocurrency market as such calibrates here in 2018. So it will calibrate, or it is calibrating right on that same level, meaning that it will also be affected by it just in the same way. So if a token calibrates at 193 like the whole crypto market, it will always go kind of up and down with the overall market. If it calibrates higher than it means that it has the potential to out-vibrate it. If it calibrates lower, it means it will do worse than the average sort of crypto market. The team, there are some disputes, so this is something that we can see when we do the testings. Some of our testers, they also use, besides the energy testing, the muscle testing that we use based on Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, we also use, our energy code reading, our psychic abilities, and our remote viewing capabilities. So we do get some extra data with just the calibrations, and there are some disputes going on with the team. So when this happens, then we usually do a retest on those companies a few months later to see how this has played out. 198 for the technology itself, for the white paper itself, calibrates in the range of truth-based, of integrity. So it's a good project, but it's just okay. All right. So it's not sort of super promising here in regards to looking, or in regards to the treasure hunt that I talked about earlier, like finding the new sort of big players. It will be there, okay? With 194, it shows that it can prevail in the cryptosphere. And I think that, this is a technology that is really needed. But it's probably going to have to refine a little bit, and it has to probably also look at competitors, what they're doing, and work through this. Next up is IOTA. IOTA's been around for a while. It's a protocol and a chain for the Internet of Things. Okay, so what is this? Is the use case for Internet of Things is basically sort of the stuff that is starting to happen in our homes, where we have all these appliances, our lighting system, our security system, our stereo, our Siri or whatever, these appliances that we have, even refrigerators and heating system and so forth, that can all be connected to the Wi-Fi and controlled, through your, say, device. This is what Internet of Things means. And IOTA, is one of the first ones there. It's to offer a protocol for this, that can be international, basically, and also a chain for this is needed. So it's a needed project. So with 198, it calibrates relatively high, and also the technology with 198 shows really promising potential. The team is a little inconclusive right now, but not too bad. Okay, so 190 is normal sort of pride-based behavior. Okay, so trying to be the best. Okay, trying to prove something, but not entirely sort of based on truth. But overall, IOTA has a goal. Next up is a currency token. So this is another use case for a token, namely to be used as, currency, just like how we would use the US dollar or the euro or any other currency, okay, to pay for things. And Dash is one of those highly praised simple to use digital currencies that also provide privacy. Okay, they provide the ability to do private transactions, and lately this has gotten a little bad reputation. Dash has been promoted by Venezuela for this transition from their hard currency, their fiat currency, into cryptocurrency, the petro, and Dash. And so there's questionable stuff around Dash right now, okay, in that energy field. So even though Dash calibrates at 198 as a token, which is higher than the overall crypto sphere, and will mean that it will be around. And the people with 197, the team, the leadership behind Dash, is relatively integrous, and the technology really safe, really good technology with 202. So we have a total of 199, which is truth-based. That's integrous, okay? But there are some questionable use cases right now, such as the usual sort of old preoccupation with why people would even use Bitcoin, to do sort of criminal things or to hide things. So they're going to have to grow out of this, but I don't see that this is going to be a problem for Dash. So it's actually a really trustworthy coin, and with it a currency that will have its place. Will Dash, win the race over Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum? As I said earlier, guys, this is irrelevant, okay? This is not what all this is about, okay? There will be lots of different currencies, and some of which will be, offered by certain exchanges, easier to buy or to swap, and, to be held by wallets and so forth. There's a whole sphere, a whole ecosystem that forms here. Next up is FUNFAIR. Another type of use case, another type of what cryptocurrencies can be used for, except for just currencies or blockchains. FUNFAIR is a gaming platform for developers, for gamers, for casinos, for affiliates. So it has a growing community, and interestingly enough, you may think, oh, it is questionable in casinos and gambling and all this. Yeah, but just like Steam, for instance, who are really dominating the gaming market, and as far as the software is concerned, there's going to be some big players here in the distribution of content on the blockchain, and also providing sort of reward systems for developers. So with 201 for the token itself, this bodes really well for FUNFAIR, okay? And the people with 198, this may be surprising for you guys, but this is an integrous team, okay? And the way they're approaching this through community, I've said this many times before, is the right way to go. There's a sort of a self-correcting factor in that. And this requires integrity, and to be able to keep up with this. The technology, the white paper, and the project itself with 201, guys, it's trustworthy, it's integrous. So FUNFAIR comes to a total integrity rating of 200 based on truth, okay? This is pretty good for, the crypto currency sphere, and for what sort of speaks for the company as them being able to prevail even the ups and downs. So good job, FUNFAIR. Next and last is DECENTRLAND, yet another type of token or another type of platform, really, also offering a protocol, namely for virtual reality applications. Okay, so as most of you know, I'm sure many of you have, or maybe not yet, watched Ready Player One. That's a good movie to watch to get an idea of what we're going to look at here in 10 years from now, maybe already 5 years from now, you know, some of the social problems also that come with this, when virtual reality becomes state of the art in gaming, but also state of the art for, you know, other kinds of entertainment or, you know, social media. And so it's important that you, no matter what you think about virtual reality, that you keep an eye on this. If you're looking for big players in the future, you're going to have to accept that virtual reality is sort of the next technological improvement on a consumer level that everybody's going to jump on, and you will too. Okay, so Decentraland is, you know, Ethereum-based platform that allows to create, that allows to experience, that allows to monetize, you know, virtual reality content. So it's basically like a pool, you know, that provides the tools for developers, but also, you know, that allows us as users, you know, to know where to go. We'll have to see how this works out. With 195, the token itself, so as an investment, calibrates slightly above the overall cryptosphere. But with 189, the team is showing a little bit of weakness. Again, here it's old paradigmish, so nothing to worry about, you know, but there's people in there for greed, for, you know, pride and so forth. So that's to be expected for a huge market segment like virtual reality. But what worries me a bit is the technology with 189. This is not where you want to see this kind of weakness, and we've had, while we were testing Decentraland, a little bit of overlay there. So it will probably, if they play their cards right, there will be upgrades needed, and this is to be expected. You know, if you know where virtual reality is at this very moment, you know, then you know that there's still a lot of development needed here, and a lot of this has to do with, you know, the technology available, hard drives and graphics cards and so forth. So there will be upgrades that are needed for Decentraland to really sustain, to prevail here. So I'm not seeing it right now. Okay, I'm seeing that this. I like Decentraland. I think they have their place there. They should have their place. But they need to do something here. Okay, so that has mostly to do with the software and the tech behind it. All right, this concludes the tech test here, the test for, or the integrity test for the tokens here for this week, and we have more for you. We have another exchange, we have an influencer, we have one more token, and also a dApp for you, tested already, which I will introduce to you on Sunday around the same time. So 2 p.m. Eastern time will be sort of the time for us for doing comparative studies, and I want to close off with a little bit of preview here for you. You may find this very interesting. I've taken, you know, those different token types that we've talked about earlier and started to compare them with another. And this is very, very interesting. It paints a whole new picture on certain token types, namely based on their integrity level. So what you can see here is a different list from the list at coinmarketcap.com maybe. You know, this is, it's not based on market capitalization. It's not based on whether I like them or not, which is very unfortunate because there are some that I don't like. But we have compared their integrity ratings with another, and this is showing us, you know, maybe where these companies as a whole. Smash the like button, you know, and subscribe to the channel so that you get the notification for our Sunday Comparative Studies Crypto Spiritual Edition. Thank you guys for coming. I lost the chat here as I was speaking, so I'm not really sure if you commented, guys. leave me comments in the description what tokens, what dApps, what influencers, and so forth you want us to test for you. See you Sunday, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good week. Bye-bye.